opening statement.
In a speech in 1985, Ronald Reagan addressed an audience of business and trade leaders, stating, "I, like you, recognize the inescapable conclusion that all history is taught. The freer the flow of world trade, the stronger the tides of human progress and peace among nations." While today's topic is about conflicts of interest, this hearing is yet one more opportunity for Washington to reject this conclusion in its insatiable desire to impose sanctions on China and to restrict trade. While it is clear that we have an adversarial relationship with China, there is another way. In the past 30 years, it's undeniable that the economic interaction between the U.S. and China has been a substantial driver of both Chinese and American economic growth. As President Reagan pointed out nearly 40 years ago, trade will not only strengthen the tides of human progress, but also increase prospects for peace. The London School of Economics recently found that trade with China has boosted the average American household purchasing power by $1,500 just since 2001. These effects are substantially higher among low-income households, reaching as high as an additional $1,700 per year in purchasing power. Studies by Oxford and Harvard have found that trade with China has led to a net job creation. In 2019 alone, trade with China was directly responsible for 1.2 million American jobs. We should think twice before ending relations and ending trade with China. Despite the tense relationship we've had with China since 2017, China remains the U.S.'s third largest trading partner behind Mexico and Canada, accounting for about 10% of all American trade in 2024. China also remains the world's second largest consumer market, only behind the U.S. Even so, many in the Senate and across Congress fail to recognize the trade-offs that come with the antagonistic and extreme restrictions of foreign trade of goods and services. It's not just China that suffers from these policies, but also American households, American small business owners, and even at times American strategic objectives. Some argue that we should prioritize domestic contractors. A recent report from the Peterson Institute found that in 2017 alone, Buy America requirements cost the U.S. taxpayer $94 billion. This is effectively a $715 tax per American family. To make matters worse, the same study found that the mandates had little to no effect on net job growth. So even American workers who are also consumers are made poorer by these requirements. Another recent study found that repealing all Buy American mandates on U.S. procurement would even generate an additional 300,000 jobs and lead to significant advancements in U.S. infrastructure goals. Unserious legislation that seeks to comprehensively ban firms that sell to foreign markets from federal contracts not only harms our competitiveness and dynamism of the U.S. business contracting with the federal government, but also the strategic aims and interests of the U.S. government itself. People worry that contractors who work for the Chinese government will be influenced by Chinese communism. It's also that the reverse may be true, that American contractors contracting for the Chinese government may be bringing an influence from America and from American capitalism as well. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses about how simultaneously to mitigate the risks that may come from conflicts of interest while still maintaining the competitiveness and dynamism brought about by the free markets and free trade that makes all Americans more prosperous.
Thank you, Ranking Member Paul. It's the practice of this committee to